Hi, I'm Michael Mintz, and today I'm going to show you how SeleniumBase does releases. If you're not already familiar with SeleniumBase, it's a test automation framework on GitHub. Today we're going to tackle a few issues for the next release, which currently we're on release 1.49.12, but we're going to push this to 1.49.13 during the session. So a few improvements that we're going to make today are file downloads. Right now, as you see from this Stack Overflow article, you may encounter a prompt when you try to download multiple files on the same website with using Chrome or a Chromium browser such as Edge. We're going to create the fix to this, as well as another issue where with Firefox, you may be asked to save a file and you don't want that prompt showing up. So there's already a solution where you can disable file prompts when downloading files, and the solution is already here. And we're also going to update some Python dependencies and figure out which dependencies are out of date. You can easily just run a command piplist -- outdated, and it basically says the Python packages that you have that are out of date. So when I ran this command, it shows that coverage, parso, pytest HTML, and rich are a little out of date. So for this release, I'm going to update coverage to 5.3 and rich to 6.2.0. And I've actually already made all the changes that I'll be making for this. So let's see now. With source tree, which is basically my UI tool for deciding what I'm going to push, I can say I already changed the requirements file to update coverage and rich. Same with the setup.py file. I'm also going to make the improvements to downloading files, which is done in Browser Launcher, where essentially we set Chrome settings, Firefox settings, and Edge browser settings to update the download ability, as you saw from Stack Overflow. And I'm also going to make a minor change to base case where I adjust the allowed timeout for asserting that a downloaded file was downloaded fully. And not much change there. I changed the small timeout to a large timeout, but that's really only changing 6 seconds to 10 seconds. And I'm also going to add a test for that. And first thing I want to do is, since I've already made these changes, I can do pip install -e dot, which will basically install the updated dependencies. And then if I run piplist -- outdated again, I should see fewer outdated dependencies. Just going to have a quick drink of tea while that happens. Okay, so it should be getting a response now, and here we go. Okay, so we saw that rich was updated and also coverage was updated. So now the only two out-of-date dependencies are parso and pytest HTML, and I'm going to leave those where they are right now because having the latest version of those is kind of going to break SeleniumBase. So now that I've made those changes, and I've also created a test to test out the new changes to file downloading, I'm going to run this exact test using Chrome, Edge, and Firefox to make sure all the issues are handled. So cd into the examples folder, pytest test, download files, -- browser equals Chrome, which is the default browser. And for this test, it's going to go to PyPI and download the wheel for SeleniumBase and the tar.gz file for SeleniumBase. So once that finishes loading, it's going to download that and the wheel, and it said 1 passed. And I can verify that the files were downloaded by going into the downloaded files folder, which is a directory that's automatically set for when downloading files. So now if I do an ls, you can see SeleniumBase 1.49.12 The wheel file is here, and SeleniumBase 1.49.12, the tar.gz file is also there. So I've run that with Chrome. Let's also test that with Firefox, -- browser equals Firefox, and it should again download those files when going to the website. Also, every time you start a new SeleniumBase test, it clears out the downloaded files folder so that earlier tests don't impact that. So we'll see that the download was completed, and then it completed the other file. We can already see that happening automatically from the test. So that should pass. And we can also test that with -- browser equals edge, that we also have that working. So now it's going to spin up the Microsoft Edge browser and check that there are no issues downloading these files again. Alright, so that file was downloaded and the other file was downloaded. Perfect. So I can say, okay, the changes that I made worked, no issues. Let's start creating the release. So let's go into here and say, okay, I already named the branch, improve file downloads. So now I'm going to add browser launcher to staged files, and here's where I made the changes. Let's see, improve, prevent download prompts from appearing. Okay, prevent download prompts from appearing. And that takes care of the issues that we saw above, where multiple files could be an issue, could cause an extra prompt to appear. And as well as Firefox, a certain file type may cause the prompt to appear unless I change that preference to, say, allow or have those files automatically be downloaded without causing a prompt to appear. Prevent download prompts from appearing. Okay, I'm going to commit that. Next, I am going to change the default timeout for asserting that a downloaded file was downloaded successfully. So update the default timeout for waiting for asserting, there we go, for asserting downloaded files. Okay, update the default timeout for asserting downloaded files. Okay, good. Commit that. Next, we're going to add a test to make sure that everything is good. So I'm going to call that add test for asserting downloaded files. All right, commit that. And let's see, update the Python requirements. So let's add that. Update the Python requirements. And that's going to be a requirements.txt file and a setup.py file. All right, so commit that. Next, we're going to update the release number. So that is going to be in the setup.py file. And I'm going to bump that 12 to a 13, so it has 1.49.13 as the new version. So I'm going to move that into staged files, and I'm going to call this version 1.49.13. And I'm going to commit that. And then I'm going to push this to the improve file downloads branch. All right, now we can go on to GitHub. So go to SeleniumBase and we'll see, hey, it appears. Improve file downloads. Had recent pushes less than a minute ago. Let's compare and pull request. All right. I need a cup of tea, one sec. All right, so we're going to call this improve file downloads. Disable prompts during automation. All right, and I'm going to give that a name, improve file downloads, disable prompts during automation, and all the different things that I'm changing for that. Prevent download prompts from appearing, put that there. Let's see, I can say on Chrome, Firefox, and Edge. Next, I'm going to update the default timeout for asserting downloaded files. So that's basically giving downloaded files a little longer to appear before failing the assertion. Alright, so that is in there. I'm not going to say I added a test because I usually just don't mention tests that I've added for it, just the changes that I've made. I'm also going to say that I updated the Python requirements. And I'm going to list the specific Python requirements that I updated. So I'm going to say coverage equals 5.3 now. And I'm also going to list the rich dependency that I just updated. So coverage equals 5.3 and rich equals 6.2.0. Now I can preview it to make sure it looks good. Improve file downloads, disable prompts during automation. Or I could even just say disable automation prompts. There we go. And shrink that a bit. Always picky, keeping it small. All right, now I'm going to copy this. So I'm going to need that later. Now I'm going to create a pull request. All right, pull request is open. And as you can see, it's going to run some checks. And I've got GitHub Actions basically checking various versions of Python with SeleniumBase, as well as Azure pipelines, which also is going to run tests. So let's take a look at what that might look like. Let's click Details for the CI build, and we can see that it's setting up the job, run checkout, set up Python 3.8, install dependencies, install SeleniumBase, linked with Flake 8. Then it's going to install Chrome and Firefox, check the console scripts interface, install Chrome driver and Gecko driver, make sure PyTest is working, and start running a bunch of tests. Gonna need more to drink. It's just tea. That's good. All right. So let's see now. It's running a bunch of tests that I have. And once all the tests complete, we're just going to follow it all the way through. Let's see. It's got a lot of exciting tests that it uses to check to make sure that everything is working. The 3.8 build is completed, and the others are getting ready to be completed as well. So these should be almost ready. That's done, and one more. Waiting on that. That one's completed too. So if I go back to the GitHub page with the pull request. All right. and then I refresh the page, you can see that all checks have passed. So great, everything's good. I can now get ready to ship version 1.49.13. So I'm going to merge the pull request and confirm the merge and delete the branch. Now I'm going to go to SeleniumBase, and next I'm going to click on releases. I'm going to click draft a new release. I'm going to call it v1.49.13. I'm going to paste what I had in the clipboard, add the release title, and click Publish Release. Ta-da! We now have version 1.49.13. Improve file downloads, disable automation prompts. Great, so now that we've got that, there is one more thing that we need to do, which is releasing to the Python package index, which will basically be SeleniumBase right here. So right now it's still on 1.49.12 because it's a separate command to release to that. So I'm going to run a script, python setup.py publish, and it says confirm release publish to PyPI, and I'll say yes. And it's going to do a code health check with Flake 8. And once that's good, it's going to build up the packages and then ship that to PyPI. All right, so it looks like everything is good with Flake 8. Now it's copying files, packaging everything up, and on the last step, publishing the release to PyPI, it's going to upload the wheel file and the tar.gz file, and then finally it says the release was published successfully to PyPI. So now if we go there and refresh the page, ta-da! Version 1.49.13 has been shipped to PyPI. And now it's done. So we've created the release on GitHub, we've packaged SeleniumBase and put the release up on PyPI, and now the release is complete, and these numbers here will update shortly after enough page refreshes. Usually it takes a little bit. But essentially we have the release ready, and everyone can use SeleniumBase 1.49.13 now. So thank you for listening in on this exciting tutorial, and we hope that you come back for more. Thank you very much. I will see you all another time. Bye-bye.